What's up, y'all? It's Shuffle. We're going to do a channel update for August. I try not to do these as often anymore, but I feel like we're kind of at that point where one is in fact warranted. So let's talk about what's happening with the channel and yours truly in the next however long, few weeks, couple months, what have you. So to start off, I think the most important thing to talk about are actually, I was going to say Facebook, YouTube advertisements. So normally when I make a video and, I do the monetization things, that's how YouTube pays me, I have the ad at the start and then I have the ad at the end. I feel like those are like the least invasive and, no one's really complained. And YouTube rolled out a policy last month. I put it on my community tab, but I didn't actually talk about it in a video. So the Facebook, I keep getting them mixed up. The YouTube policy that they rolled out was about mid-video advertisements. And they said that they were just going to turn them on retroactively. Even if you didn't have them on before, if your video qualifies for a mid-video ad, they're just going to throw it in there. And so far, the one or two that I've seen have been... I've seen a couple of my own videos, because I have ad block on my computer, obviously, so I just never see them. But then on my phone, I'll open my own videos and I get ads sometimes, and there's been a couple where there's like one in the middle, so I don't really care. And then there's other times where there was like 10 in the video, so I was like, that's way too much, so I just turned it off. But this is my warning, I guess. If you start booting up my videos and you see these ads, especially in like the older stuff, because it's just all turned on, I could go back and turn all of them off if they're really a big issue. Just let me know if, YouTube's just throwing them in endlessly, like 10, like once a minute or something like that. Otherwise, I will note that I have over 1,000 videos on this channel, and I do not want to go click through 1,000 videos and individually turn it off each time, so I'm pretty sure that's how I'd have to do it, so I apologize in advance. Some people said they don't really care. They're like, hey man, get compensated for your work. And I'm like, alright, that's cool. But I also don't like advertisements as a person, so I try not to be too invasive with them. I guess that brings us to our next point. I'm thinking about doing the membership button, the join things, like the paid sub thing. I don't know what perks I'd give yet. It's something I've been kicking around as an idea. Because, those student expenses start climbing up. And, things have been tough lately. That's kind of why I didn't want to do it at the same time. Because, times are very tough right now. So, I think asking for money right now is just kind of a messed up thing to do. But at the same time, I think everyone's hurting. So, I don't know. I'm still kicking the idea around. So, when I actually eventually decide to do it, I'll let y'all know. I was kind of waiting for like 10,000 subs, but who knows. Alright, let's talk about Darkest Dungeon. So, that's why most of you are here. It's kind of what the channel's about right now. So, in terms of videos for the Darkest Dungeon Circus, I'm not going to play it again until Season 2. I just don't enjoy Circus as a game mode. I think it does some things pretty well. I think Red Hook did pretty well for their first attempt. I don't fault them for the connection issues, even though obviously that is something that they did, because they don't have experience with it, so I understand. But also, connection issues are I shouldn't say very easy to fix, but they are fixable. It's not something they have to spend 6 months going back to like the core design and doing tweaks and stuff, or they have to revamp the entire game. Looking at you, Gwent. So I think the core of the game is okay, but I just don't really enjoy it right now, especially because of those connection issues. I think the desyncs are kind of whack. Like, I don't get too many on stream, thankfully. But there have been times where I play off camera and stuff, and I just get like 3 back-to-back. And each time you get a desync, you lose a point. I just think that's ridiculous. So I think Circus has a lot of issues that they need to fix, like in terms of how the game itself is, not the connection stuff. So I think like the games are too long. I think the player base is way too small right now. Like, people are just leaving it. So that's why you find people that are like 2 or 3 ranks above or below you, in Vet 1 or Champ 3 or whatever. You can play anywhere from like Darkest 3 to Apprentice 2, and that's just stupid. And then you start playing the same people, and then you couple all those things together with how slow the actual game is. Because if you play out a game without quitting, or there's no desync or crash or soft lock or whatever. They take about 12 to 15 minutes. So if you ever look at my other videos, that I've done on Circus, each one's about 50 minutes to an hour, and that's because the games just take a long time. So like you're playing for a long time, there's a lot of coin flipping going on, and then you do all this for like 1 point, one rank point, and the ranking system is just not enjoyable anymore. So I think I'm waiting for Season 2, because I want to just have the fresh experience, have everyone jump in again, and I want to see what it's like having the Mac and Linux players who should have been there on day one. I don't know why they didn't do that. I feel like Red Hook was a little too cautious, and I want to see what balance changes they do. So right now, Circus is kind of on the back burner. I don't even have anything really in the works right now. I have ideas, I have video ideas, I have a list of them and stuff like that, but I don't really have any Circus video in the works currently, so I apologize about that. I know people are here for that, and I know I'm probably going to lose people just saying that I'm not going to play it for a little bit, so there you go. That is the nature of the YouTube beast. The modded playthrough is going to obviously continue. That is something I do quite enjoy. And then the other content for Darkest Dungeon, we're going to go back to doing base game guides. I do have the Jester one that's like 35% of the way done. I just took a small break when I started doing the Circus stuff and the streaming, what have you. All that kind of ate into this big project time. So I'm trying to get back to the big projects. So I have the Jester guide, then I think it's the Man-at-Arms, and then the Arbalest. I think that's the order we decided on. So I'll get back to working on those over the next little bit. Then I have a couple other projects I do want to do, but I don't want to actually just announce them in case I don't follow through, so there's just other stuff I'm looking at. So I have ideas. Speaking of the modded run, I do need to update the modded list for Darkest Dungeon. I have it as a link in every video, to the Steam collection thing that I have going on, and I need to go back and curate it because there's stuff I've removed and there's stuff I've added, so I need to just update it. And that is just a little tedious bit of work, so the only thing stopping me right now is my own laziness. So I apologize about that. Other channel news, the streaming stuff, I think we might actually take a break, or at least the YouTube streaming. I really enjoyed doing it, but I noticed something had happened when I was doing it. So the streams would, get some people coming in, we'd have a good time, it was fun to do. And I get kind of a small bump of, subscribers and stuff. But then I'd upload the VOD afterwards. And I did that for like 2 weeks. And like everything in terms of YouTube metrics just fell off a cliff. Like I completely trashed Algorithm Chan. So Algorithm, you probably heard your favorite YouTuber talk about it before. So there are a lot of things that dictate YouTube, or what YouTube uses to dictate how they put your videos into circulation and search results and stuff like that. So it's all the stuff you'd expect. It's like the comments, the likes, are people actually interacting with your videos? And then there's view duration. So it's not just how long they watch it, but like how much of the video they watch it. And my audience usually watches about the same amount of each video, so I'm really consistent at the same percentage. But when you look at that same percent, or that same amount of time, instead of it being an hour-long video, when you go to a 3.5-hour-long video, that is a very small percentage comparatively, even though it's the same amount of time. And once I started doing that, I noticed that all of my measurable YouTube stuff just went straight into nosedive. So like my views just dropped dramatically, subs and all that kind of stuff dropped dramatically, and I don't think it was so much that people just didn't like what I was doing, because people still enjoyed it, from like when they would talk about it. But I think seeing a 3.5-hour-long video was just too daunting to sift through. But then also, I think it was kind of trashing my stats for a bit, so YouTube just kind of knocked me out of the stuff. And we're on the path to fixing it. Ever since I started going back to the mod stuff, and I was just doing the normal upload and, whatever, just the not live commentary and stuff, and I'd upload it. I started getting the same stuff as normal, started getting the same, like, you know, set of views, people commenting. Everything felt like it went back to normal. And then once I started doing that, every other YouTube metric started going back up. So I think as fun as the streams are, I think it's worse for my long-term stuff. This is still a hobby for me, but I also do want to make stuff that people enjoy watching and interacting with. So I think that in order to do that, I need to focus on what I've been doing best. That doesn't mean that streaming won't make a return. I think we can still do the occasional stream, but we also might start trying to do, I guess, the Twitch streaming instead. I don't know. The reason I did YouTube streaming was because I'm already, you know, set up there. I have the biggest audience between the two platforms. Like, I only have I have like less than 200 followers on Twitch, and I have like, you know, 6,000 something subs on YouTube, so I knew I was going to get more traffic doing that. And I've seen YouTube streaming be successful, so I was like, okay, I'm going to try my hand at it, and it did bring in some success. So that's where we're at right now. I start school in a few weeks, so I think that's going to impact the schedule a little bit. We'll see how bad it is. Because of, you know, obvious world situations, like the COVID-19s, my classes are all online this semester. This is my last semester too, so I'm set to graduate, which means I want to make sure that I do as well as I can, so I'm really going to be focusing on that. So I think that about covers it. I do want to move back into doing some older stuff that I missed out on, or that I didn't finish, like my Turok Let's Play. I do want to finish that, but I don't know which Let's Plays I'm actually going to actively go back and finish. Still thinking about stuff, but definitely the focus is still Darkest Dungeon. And, oh, I should talk about this too. I do want to do some Slay the Spire stuff. It's not going to be in the same vein as Darkest Dungeon, where, you know, I've put almost 1,000 hours into Darkest Dungeon. I've done a lot of research. I've played it a lot. I've watched a lot of people play it, so I'm very familiar with the game, so I feel confident doing, you know, helpful guide content. With Slay the Spire, I'm completely newbie at that. I have less than 100 hours played, so I barely know anything, so I can't make guides and stuff, but I do like playing the game, so I wouldn't mind doing some Let's Play stuff while I try and make it to like Ascension 20 or something like that. So I think that'd be okay. I don't know. And then Temtem. Oh boy, Temtem. That game, I really like that game. Don't get it wrong. But, you know, when I streamed it, I had like 11 people watching it on its big release. So I'm wondering, you know, who, or like, is it just the writing is on the walls? Is it just not going to succeed potentially? I think it's too early to say that. And there are some criticisms for and against the game, obviously, but I don't know what's going on with that. So I think what that means is Temtem is going to have to wait in terms of content just for a bit longer. You know, maybe when it gets closer to release, but it's something I want on my radar. And I would like to, if anything, do maybe the same kind of guide content that I was doing for Darkest Dungeon, or be able to get good at the PvP and do stuff on that. I don't know yet, but that's something I do want to play. But I don't know if there's any crossover in the audience. Like, Darkest Dungeon and Slay the Spire has a lot of crossover. So maybe we'll just move into card games, who knows. But that's something on my mind. If you take a look at some of the other Darkest Dungeon channels out there, like Hidden Squids and Mike Field and stuff like that, people are trying to answer that question right now. It's like, how do we move on from Darkest Dungeon? Obviously, we all like the game, but everyone's just trying to branch out right now. So I'm curious to see what it looks like in its finished product, which I guess means the future is kind of exciting. You know, new stuff. And risks. We all have to take risks, right? I think that's it for real, though, this time. I can't think of anything else to talk about. I have my list of notes and talking points for this quick update. LOL quick. 20 minutes, almost long. That list is exhausted, so I will leave you to go about your days. I hope things are well. Join Discord if you haven't. I have like 200 cool people in there. Talk about all kinds of stuff. We have the Church of the Grave Robber, now the Church of the Bee, which, I don't know. I just try and stay away from the bee folks. Them and that one emote. I don't know, man. It just came up organically one day. Yeah, I think I'm out here. So thanks for watching. Watch my other stuff. I'll be back in a day or two with something. probably modded Let's Play, and I'm going to work on the Jester Guide this week as best I can. So, yeah. Thanks for sticking with it. You're all beautiful, and I'll see you later.